I asked for this man. I asked for this exact man. And he just appeared. So today we're going to talk about how you are going to manifest your husband. And for any of the men listening, how you're going to manifest your woman, your special woman, or just your soulmate, that person that you feel like you're missing in your life, that you want to have in your new life. So today we're going to talk about manifesting your spouse, and in my case, how I manifested my husband. So oftentimes I'll get people and they'll ask me just like, you know, does Jim have a brother? How did you guys meet? You know, like under what circumstances did you meet? Things like that. And so I love Jim, and I love our kind of love story and how we met. And I have a video on that on the other channel as far as like how we met. But today I want to talk about the pre-meet, before I met him, and what state of mind I was in at that time, and how I actually attracted him, how I manifested him, basically. Now, as far as the words manifesting him and how I manifested this relationship, I wasn't thinking that at the time. So I wasn't saying those words, but now that I know what I know, that's exactly what I was doing. So I'm just going to kind of walk you guys through the steps, and also how you can do it, right? And I'll just tell you through my experience what I did, okay? So at the time, I have to go back, at the time before I met Jim, I was single. So I had been single, oh boy, close to probably like 6 years. It wasn't 6 years, but almost. And so I had dated. I had, you know, I would put myself out there to date and meet new people. So I wasn't like a recluse and closed up in the house or anything like that. So I would go out on dates. I was very open to meeting new people, right? So during this like 5+ year, well, this 5, almost 6 years, I was dating, and I was experiencing a variety of people, like, and I didn't close myself off to anyone, right? It was, I had no age barrier, old, they could be young, they could be white, they could be black, they could be Hispanic, they could be Asian. I'm not going to close myself off to anything, right? The only thing I just kind of requested, you know, when I would think about it was, you know, when I would go out and I would meet people, is that you kind of need to have like an open mind, kind of not be that type of person who, you know, believes that he's going to restrict me, because I'm not having it. But anyway, so I was dating around. I was having fun. I was definitely having fun and doing my thing, right? So I remember probably about 3 months. I was going to say 4, but I'm like, no, it wasn't. Probably about 3 months before I met Jim, I remember just being in my bedroom, in a quiet space, in my bedroom alone, and I started thinking, well, what do you want? What do you want? You're dating out here, you have fun, you have a good time, whatever. But I had become very comfortable being single. Right? I had all the things that I wanted. I had all the cars. I had the big house. I had my business. I had everything that I wanted, and I was having fun. And so I was like, is this where you want to be? So if anything, I would say probably step 1 is to ask yourself, do you really want a spouse? Do you really want a husband? And if the answer is no, that's okay. Like, if the answer is no, I enjoy my single life and having my group of friends and going out and dating and doing what I do, right? If your answer is that, then by all means continue on with that. But if you ask yourself in the first step, you know, what do I want? And get real. Like, what do you want? Do you really want a husband? And then if the answer is yes, that's exactly what I want, then step 2 then I would say is ask yourself, where are you? Where are you in your own life journey, right? Because I know you guys have heard of the saying, you attract what you are. So if you attract what you are, then say for instance, these are some of your personality traits, and this is why I say you have to kind of get real. Say your personality traits is you are a pretty deceptive person. I mean, you don't have to admit any of this to anybody. I'm just saying, just get real with yourself. The reason why I'm saying these sort of adjectives or descriptive traits is because you are who you will attract. It's just the way it is. It's just how it is. If you are a deceptive person, say you are just a compulsive liar, say you are disingenuous, say you are a cheater, say you verbally, physically abusive, any of these things that are not so pleasant. Say you're an insecure person, you're gonna attract an insecure person, right? And so in step 2, I would ask you to get real with yourself and ask yourself, who am I? Who am I? Because that's the energy that I'm going to put out there, and that's what I'm going to get back in return. We already know this. Once you ask yourself those questions, and say for instance you have quite a few things in there, I named some kind of mainly negative things, but say you also have in there, you're like, no, you know, but I'm a very loving person, I'm a very loyal person, I am committed, I am generous, I'm kind, I am compassionate, understanding. If those are good, those are great, because you're going to attract a guy who has those same traits or very close to. But say when you were going through this step 2, you had started to realize that I got some things in there that I need to work on, right? Jealousy, bad attitude, negative, disingenuous. I got some things I need to work on. Then step 3, I would say, then work on those things. Whatever those possible negative things about yourself that you know is you, work on as best you can to diminish or remove or change that about yourself, right? Because again, we got to remove it so that we're not attracting those same negative traits in our mates, okay? So I would say work on removing that, right? Also in this step of removing those things, I would say while you're removing those things and you're also concentrating on the great positive things, you're going to be thinking to yourself, what things do I want from my mate? And let's get clear. I would probably say this is step 4. Like if you want some extremely like wealthy man, are you wealthy? I'm just, yeah. What are you, basically, it's kind of like people would say, what do you bring to the table? What do you bring to the table? I've always been one of those people who's like, yeah, you get some girls who, I guess they bring their youth and beauty, and they're able to then attract a man who may be extremely wealthy. In the long term, does that work? I mean, maybe. I'm sure in some cases, maybe, I guess it may work. But I'm talking about, like, not just a husband, but like a true soulmate. Like someone you guys just completely gel. You guys are just one in the same, like that mate. I'm talking about a mate like that. Not just somebody that you were able to get to put a ring on it. Okay? So all the things that you're asking for, that, you know, when you write down in step 4, what do you want from this mate? And everything you list, ask yourself, do you bring that same thing? I want somebody who's completely compassionate and gives me all the attention and love that I deserve. Are you willing to do that same thing to him, for him? I want a man who can be trustworthy and be loyal to me. Are you going to bring that same thing to the table for him? So just ask yourself, if all the things that you're asking, and everybody has their different stipulations, criteria, it doesn't matter. And another thing that doesn't matter as well is what your criteria is. Don't listen to other people about what should be your standard. You know your standard. You know what you're okay with and what you're not okay with. For instance, like some women are completely okay with if their husband kind of steps out on them. Okay, so don't listen to anybody else like, oh no, your husband shouldn't do that. If that's okay with you, that doesn't bother you, that doesn't make you feel any certain kind of way, maybe because you're doing your own thing too, right? So that works for you guys. Be honest and say what you really want, and then ask yourself, if those same qualities that you're asking for in a man, do you provide the same qualities and traits? Okay. So basically what I was doing was going through these same steps that I'm giving you guys. I was going through for myself when I was single 3 months before I met Jim. When I went through those steps, I would say step 5 was, once I got through with the whole internal, like getting real with who I am, and then asking myself, what did I want from a man as far as internally, his values, his morals, things like that. Then I would say step 5, start visualizing what he looks like. This is important, you guys, because you have to visualize not only what he looks like and what you want, but you need to visualize seeing yourself with him. Like, close your eyes and see yourself with him. Do you see yourself with this person? And the reason why you have to visualize it is because before he comes and until he comes, you need to constantly remind yourself, one, he's coming. I already asked. Remember, these are the steps we've already been through before. I already asked for it. It's done. He's coming. And now when you get in moments of where you might fall into, but why isn't he here yet? You know, it's been 2 months. I still haven't met anybody. I'm going out to the club every night. I'm hanging out at the bar. I still haven't met my soulmate. Remember, I told you, the minute you start thinking about the lack of, you've pulled yourself out of the mode of receiving. So these visualizations you're going to need, because any time, which is possible because we're human, that you slip out of that receptive, happy where I am mode, you're going to need something to replace this, but I don't have them yet. I don't have them yet. You're going to need to put that visual image back in your head. He's coming, and here he is. Yep. I see us now. We're walking through the park, and Because remember, you guys, we have to fool, basically. We have to fool the subconscious. We have to put the visuals in there to reprogram the mind, so that the mind starts to see this man and this wonderful relationship as your reality, right? So visualize what he looks like for you. Just visualize everything that you want. Everything that you want. And so this is exactly what I did. I did all those steps, and then I visualized what did I want. And I remember some things I was specific on, and then other things I just wasn't. I just didn't have an image of it at all, because it didn't matter. It didn't matter. But some things I was specific on. I'm going to just give you guys an example for me when I was visualizing. And it's kind of uncanny now because of the fruition of it all. But I was visualizing somebody who was tall. I've always liked tall men, and although when I was dating, again, like I said, I was like open to whatever, short, tall, skinny, fat, white, black, Hispanic. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. I was just like, I just need to go out for the experience of it all to kind of find out what is it exactly that I want, right? And you're able to kind of weed things out, right? Where you're like, no, I don't want that. Thank you for the date, and now I know. Right? And so I remember visualizing, one of the things that I visualized immediately was he's tall. My man is tall. He's tall. The other thing that I visualized was that he was super, you know, once I was going through the like qualities, it was like he is a super kind, generous man. He is someone who's so compassionate. He is someone who is so like masculine but very tender at the same time. Who's accomplished but yet very humble, right? Somebody who needs to be open-minded, because see, again, going through those steps, I know what I am. I know who I am, so I know I need that. I need someone who is open-minded. I need someone who's not restrictive at all. And these were the things that I was visualizing, and I would visualize us doing things and certain places that I wanted to go, or like walking through houses that we were going to move into or think about buying. I would like visualize us like doing that, right? Like walking through houses, looking at houses, or I would visualize us just doing like a couple things, like sitting down at the at a dinner table and having dinner and enjoying dinners, right? So these are some of the things that I was thinking about when it came to my husband. And then, as I mentioned before, you guys, then you got to just let it go. Get your visual in. Use your visual as often as you need to get you to that happy place, to remind you that he is coming. Make sure that you are continuing to keep yourself right and in that right place, and continue to be the type of person that you want to attract, right? And then you gotta just let it go, right? Just let it go. So in my instance, what I would do is, during those 5 years, I remember I was on like different dating sites, right? Because I wasn't really active out there, like, you know, like going to bars, or like that wasn't really my scene. And so and I work from home. So I really didn't get out much. And that's, I would be at like Gary's functions or swim meets or things like that, and I would be around like other or things, activities going on in the school. So I wasn't out and about really putting myself in places that I could possibly meet my mate, and I knew that, which is why I had started joining different dating sites, because I was like, well, in order for you to, I knew for a fact that in order for you to obtain and get this man that you so desire, you're gonna have to put yourself out there. And since you're not going to clubs, or you don't go to church, you don't I don't know where else people meet men, but I wasn't doing those things. So I knew I had to go like online. So I was on different sites. So what I would do is, as I mentioned before, I would date different guys and get the experience of going out with those different guys and having fun, right? But then I would like take breaks, because I can kind of get easily exhausted, because my energy can be so high that when I go out on a date or when I'm around someone, the energy is just so high that I kind of need days, sometimes weeks, to like come down and like regroup, relax, rejuvenate type thing, right? And so, but in addition to that, I literally would just kind of go through these like spells of like weeks or months where no dating. I wouldn't get online to check the dating sites. I was just like, I'm not in the mood. And I knew then, if I'm not feeling really good or positive about a thing, do not do it. That's kind of been my mantra for a while, is that if you don't feel like doing it, Tracy, if you're not in the mood, if you're not feeling good about this activity, then don't do it. That's kind of always how I've been, right? And so, like, I usually don't have a problem at all telling people no. I know that a lot of people have that problem. It's just not mine. I don't have that problem at all. If I don't want to do something, no, I'm not going. Nope, I won't be there. Thank you so much for inviting me, but no, I won't attend. And so I would just go like months sometimes where I wouldn't even be on the site. I didn't want to flirt. I didn't want to communicate with anybody. I would just feel like I just needed to regroup and kind of just focus back on me. And like I told you guys before, I'm already a loner. So being alone and focusing on me or doing things around the house is my thing. And so I can get lost in that for a very long time. And so I have to kind of pull myself out and go, oh my God, it's been some months. I haven't been talking to anybody, but I know I want my man, so I better get out here and kind of get active. You got to put in the work to actually receive that manifestation that you want, right? So I would take these like long breaks of like regrouping and making sure I was still in tune with myself and things like that. And then also, like I said, on a regular basis, probably if not daily, every other day, I would go back to that visualization, what he looks like. Sometimes I would fine tune it. Oh yeah, I forgot. I want this too, and I want him to be like that too. You know, those sort of things. And so when Jim and I met, it was kind of funny, because I was on one of those spells where I hadn't been on the dating site for some months. I hadn't been on the dating site for some months. And when Jim sent his flirt to me, you know, on these dating sites, you can send a flirt and things like that. I'm drinking my sparkling water with the lemon, lime, and strawberry today. That's good. I have my little little jewelry, wine glass jewelry on here, and this one says love. Isn't it, how appropriate? And so I had been on one of those hiatus where I hadn't been on the dating site, right? And so I kind of was like, oh, I better check the dating site, see what's going on. It's been a while, right? And it just so happened, this is what I'm trying to explain to you guys, how it can happen just like that. Like, you have to be receptive. You have to have your antennas up. You have to have your eyes open, and you kind of need to be open to all possibilities. This is a thing that I'm always trying to suggest to women as well. I know some women just can't do it. They cannot do it, and that is completely fine. But if you can, this will work wonders in your life. If you guys can try to, when you're going through those different steps and asking for what you really want in a man, try to see how open can you really be. Like, can you, or are you really just open to love? Or are you really kind of just stuck on this physical image of a man, right? He gotta be black, he gotta be Baptist, he gotta be I don't know the things people say. A lot of women, I think, say tall, like I did. But and yeah, like in cases like that, some things you're just not going to, some things you're just like, no, these are like my top 3 priority. Like, especially like if it's a physical thing, it's like most people is like, okay, what is your top 3? But I will suggest that if it really is your bottom line goal is to meet your soulmate, that person you vibe with on all levels, you're going to have to loosen up the strings, if you will. You're going to have to loosen up the reins. You're going to have to ask yourself, like, now, do I really need that? For instance, him being your same religion. Does he really have to be? He got to be Baptist, really? Huh. Okay. I'm Catholic, so, well, that was the religion I used to affiliate with. I don't affiliate with any religions now. But, okay. Does he really have to be your religion? I mean, is that a must, you guys? Is that a must? Or does he need to just be kind of like a spiritual person? Does he really have to, like, go to church with you every Sunday? Okay, if that's what you gotta have, then cool. If that's what you gotta have, I'm not judging at all. I'm just saying, just know that when you put all those kind of hardcore restrictions on, you kind of limiting your possibility. Because if your end goal was just to find love, is that your end goal or not? Or is it to find this physical thing that you visualize yourself that you just have to have? Another thing, does he have to be black? I know that might trigger a lot of people. I'm talking to the guys too. Does she have to be black? I know, you guys, I know this is like, wait, what? But I need, if you really want love, ask yourself that question. Do they really need to be the same race as you? I have more in common with Jim than I've had with any man I've ever dated in my life. Jim will tell you in 2 seconds. He's like, I'm looking at you. I see you. Yeah, I know, I see that you're black, but I kind of don't. Because it has no relevance. It has no significance at all. Like, I see Jim, I'm talking to Jim, I'm laying next to Jim, and it's like, you just literally, like, your perception change, like, you just don't see it. You don't see the color. And so I would kind of push you guys to ask yourself, do they have to be the same race as you? Okay, do they need to have the same political affiliation as you? Really, you guys? These things, religion, race, politics, these are nothing but divisions, you guys. We are one race. We are the human race. You can find love in so many different people. Heck, even different genders, or the same gender as you. Like, I'm just asking you to ask yourself, are there some restrictions that you have out there that could possibly be eliminated? And I would strongly suggest you say, especially with those three things, because those three things come up a lot. And they are just not relevant at all, you guys. They just are not. Now, if you're saying something like, I want a guy who, I want to be physically attracted to him. Well, yeah, I totally get that, because that's important. Sex is important. Sex is important. Being intimate with your mate is important. So you need to be physically attracted to him. And make it be based on what you want, not what other people would think if you dated somebody, say, of a different race. Don't base it off of anybody and anybody's thoughts or judgments. Base it off of what you desire, okay? And so that's what I did. That's exactly what I did. I just said, you know what? I'm open to this. I'm open to that. What his religious beliefs are, I don't care. What his political beliefs are, I don't care. What his race is, I don't care. The things that, like I said, that I was really kind of physically, the only things that I was really like, I've dated enough, like, people my height or a little bit taller. I knew that just wasn't what I wanted. I knew that you know, I knew that wasn't my thing. And I'm not saying that shouldn't be your thing. You got to base it off of what you like, what you desire. But as far as anything else, like physically, like if you guys don't know, when I met Jim weighed 100 pounds more. No, 120 pounds more than he does now. Didn't bother me at all, because that wasn't in my vision. I just couldn't care less. I was just like, it doesn't bother me. And when I visualized Jim, I never put in the visual. This is kind of funny. I never put in the visual, I put in there that he was tall, but I didn't put in there, is he big? Is he really skinny? Nothing. I didn't put anything in there. When I kept visualizing us, it was like we were doing these different activities on vacation, things like that. And I just remember thinking, every time I would go into this visualization, I just kept seeing us in these like very intimate, deep conversations. Like, I just remember looking into his eyes. Now, that wasn't anything that I remember actually saying, like, his eyes needs to be blue. Like, that wasn't something that I said. But every time I would visualize him, we would be in these like in a trance, like don't see anybody around us, just like looking at each other and having these just like really deep, intense, long conversations. So I remember I was looking into his eyes all the time. And so that's how I knew that his eyes were blue. But I don't remember actually saying it, but maybe subconsciously I was thinking maybe I want him to have blue eyes. And so that's why when I kept visualizing it, that just kept coming up. It also kept coming up, like, again, this wasn't a requirement. I just didn't think about it. But in the visualization, he had hair. He had hair. And like a lot of hair. He wasn't like bald head or anything, right? And so I was like, okay. But physically, you guys, that was about as specific as I got. And like I said, those were not, as far as his hair and his blue eyes, those were not any stipulations that I had at all. I had no requirements on that at all. The only physical trait that I wanted was that he was tall. All the other stuff was internal stuff. How is he going to treat me? How is he going to be around me? Is he going to be loving? All those things that I wanted, right? But physically, that was about it. But what I kept seeing was, in addition to the height, was his eyes, and he had all his hair. And like I said, I was literally on a hiatus from the dating sites at that time. And I was like outside gardening, and I was just like, when you go back inside, you need to check the dating site. See who's checked in, see who's left you a message, you know, that kind of stuff. And I went back inside, and I was just like, let me check this dating site. And then I just checked the site. Again, you guys, your thoughts matter. So as you're going through this process of dating and waiting for your man, as I said before, be in a happy place where you already are. Be happy in knowing that it's coming, but also be happy in, like for me, I was like, I'm not pressed. I'm not desperate. I'm not, and you know, people can pick up on that. You know, you've heard that before, like a man that just look like he just want a woman, or a woman who just seems so desperate to get a man. You all know you can pick up on the energy. And I was none of that. It was like, I put it out there. It's coming. And I remember I would always say to myself, when the time is right, when the time is right, it'll come. The right person is going to come when the time is right. And I was just happy where I was. I was happy being single. Not complacent, not like I want to be here for the rest of my life, but it was like, but I'm happy where I am, right? I'm accomplished. This house is beautiful. I'm able to look out of these windows and look into this like forest, like these woods. I'm able to garden. I was just so happy, you know. The house was like right around the corner from Gary's school, so I could like walk Gary to school. You guys know I love being out in nature. So I mean, in those walks, and those morning walks to school, or just driving him to school, knowing it was just like, I love the fact that my son was just like right around the corner, and I could just get my hand on him real quick if I had to. He wasn't some long distance away. Like it was like things like that I was just so grateful for. And cooking, I used to love cooking, and just you know, just sitting down in our family room, and it was like this huge house, but it was just me and Gary. And I remember thinking to myself, this house needs a family. This house needs a family. And I just would start visualizing my man, and me and my man in this house, or looking at houses. And I was happy and content exactly where I was. And so when I went back in the house that day, and I said, let me check the dating site, boop, it was like some other messages and things left. And the one that I saw just, you know, it just stuck out. It just was like, wow. And it just so happened that we found out that Jim had sent the message the day before I had seen it. And so when I saw it, I was like, oh wow, okay. And as soon as I saw his profile pic, you guys, I was like, that is him. I just immediately saw the profile pic. Now you guys got to remember, his profile pic, he's showing himself. You can tell he's a big guy. Didn't bother me at all, because that wasn't part of my stipulations. That wasn't something that I cared about. And look at how it just all kind of worked out, where Jim on his own, after meeting me and being with me, after having that weight on him, he later told me for years, 20 years, maybe 30 years, something like that. Like for years, it's a long time to be that heavy. And only after meeting me, something in me motivated him to say, I'm done with this. I'm losing this weight. And this man lost 120 pounds. I never asked him to because I didn't care. When I saw that profile pic, I was just like, I hadn't even talked to him yet. I just saw the picture and I was like, that's him. That's him. And then I went in and I read his profile. You know, you write a little synopsis. And I read his profile and I was like, that's him. I was like, that's him. It's done. I was like, it's done. I knew, I'm not kidding you guys. If you guys have seen any of my other videos, this moved so fast with Gemini. This moved fast. If I met him in 1 month, 3 months later, we were engaged. And 5 months later, we were married. Done. Done. And nobody could understand it. Nobody. I knew exactly what was going on. I wasn't saying law of attraction. I wasn't saying manifestation. But I knew I asked for this man. I asked for this exact man. And he just appeared. He just appeared. He just appeared on the site. And we have just been like inseparable. Even when Jim has to go off and he's on the road or he's working or something like that, we're talking throughout the day and we're on Skype all through the night. All through the night. Exactly how we were when we first met, and he was in Vegas and I was in St. Louis. Exactly the same. It's just like we're just always in sync with each other. We're just always, you know, he'll call me when I'm just thinking about him. We have just been inseparable ever since. Like, we go out, we party. I remember I was thinking I wanted somebody who I can just like have fun with, just let loose with, try new things with. You know, I was just like, I was like, oh, I know this man, this man gonna be, and nothing, and that's why I'm always like, it is so funny. And that's how you know it was a vibe and a vibration, because nothing about Jim, he thinks this is so funny. I'm like, Jim, you look like an L7. You look like a straight up square. You look like you're this like extremely conservative guy. But I mean, of course, this white man married to a black woman. I mean, how conservative could he be? But he is conservative in some areas. But when it comes to me and how he gets down with me and how we play and how we roll, he's like, whatever. He's like, I think he just, I think, and I used to say all the time, like, oh, why didn't I meet you X amount of years ago? Why didn't I meet you blah, blah, blah years ago? And then I had to stop myself, you guys. And I was like, no, I met him exactly when I was supposed to meet him.